Bettor Sports Betting is your home for picks, props, and futures for tonight's action. Bettor Sports Betting wants to know what picks you're playing tonight. Tell us in the live chat on YouTube, Twitter, and the Bettor Sports Network app. This is Bettor Sports Betting with Fantasy Alarm's Dan Servodidio.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Bettor Sports Network, Fantasy Alarm. Appreciate everyone coming in here on a Tuesday afternoon. I got Jon Impemba with me today. What's up, John?
Not too much. Been a little bit busy. Obviously, we are quickly approaching the NFL season here. So fantasy football season is in full swing. Everybody is remembering they have their drafts basically each and every day. So our Discord is bumping, the cheat sheet, the Fantasy on Draft Guide. Everybody is getting that. And a lot of great feedback on the cheat sheet. If you're in our Discord, you follow over on Twitter as well. You get your draft grid, your player rankings, your auction values, a lot of great things going on there as we all look to dominate our fantasy football drafts this season, man.
Yeah, for sure. And on today's show, we'll be giving out some baseball picks for Tuesday night a little bit later. But got to start with some NFL news. Keep that football news coming because thanks to our producer, Tyler Soto, Heavy T, letting us know in chat about the latest Jonathan Taylor news. No trade for Jonathan Taylor if you've been trying to follow this or track it. He has not been traded by today's deadline that the Colts set, and also the roster cut deadlines and all that. But he is placed on the PUP list, and it says, from Rappaport, Schefter, they're all reporting that they're still going to try to trade him at some point, but right now have placed him on the PUP list. So, for fantasy, for NFL betting, futures, player futures, all that stuff, you kind of expect the Colts not to have Jonathan Taylor to start this season.
Yeah,
we'll kind of track and see how it goes, though.
Leaving him on the PUP list for automatic missed 4 games. So first 4 games of the season out. No Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah. So, we'll see because there's been rumors maybe they try to bring in like a Kareem Hunt who's still out there in free agency. They still have Deion Jackson.
Zach Moss.
Yeah, Zach Moss is there. Evan Hull, the rookie.
Hull,
so we'll see how this kind of shakes out. But obviously, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, this is not a fantasy show, but it's kind of hard to draft Taylor at this point, right? You just don't. I mean, you can get him late because he's going to slip in the draft, but obviously not a first, second round pick anymore.
Yeah, well, here's the thing with Jonathan Taylor is that he can't hold out the entire year, or else he doesn't gain a year of what am I thinking here? A year of playing time. Yeah, like he doesn't gain a year of service time. Doesn't gain a year of service time if he holds out the whole season. So he'll be right back where he is in the same situation. So he's got to see the field at some point. Now, whether that means they trade him still and he misses the 4 weeks and then he gets on the field and plays for another team, that's great. But he was a first-round pick, and then he was a second-round pick. Now he's falling to the end of the second round, to the third round, and now that he's missing 4 games, probably a 4th, 5th round snag. And even that feels super risky now at that point because you just don't know how many games he's going to ultimately hold out for if he doesn't get traded. And, that could be a big boon to your fantasy teams. But to your point, there were some people that were laying some money on the season-long props. It's one of the reasons I don't love doing season-long props anyways, is just the uncertainty of a player's health or status. But you also lock in your money for an entire year, and there's not generally a lot of gain on a player prop bet, season-long player prop bet. But now anybody who is betting on the Colts or Taylor even, definitely in trouble there. I know the Jaguars go to Indy week 1, and some people like the Colts there at home week 1. Probably not anymore, if Taylor's not there.
Well, yeah, and you got Anthony Richardson in his first NFL start. I know he's flashed in the preseason, but you got to think there'd be a little growing pains going against a number one starters on defense for the Jaguars. But so interesting there. I mean, we'll track it. I mean, who knows? Taylor could pull a Le'Veon Bell and sit out a full season. I mean, that's not off the table. So.
Nope.
You got to keep that in the back of your mind whenever you're backing any Colts props or fantasy football drafts or any of that. But earlier today, over on Bettor Sports Network YouTube, Fantasy Alarm, if anybody missed it, go check out the show that John, Howard Bender, Britt Flynn, Andrew Cooper, and Kevin Tompkins all just did. Aired at 2:00 Eastern today, going through all their players that they're planting a flag on for fantasy football. And I want to kind of carry that right into betting here. If you want to talk, any player futures on these guys and look at John's players that he's planting a flag on, see if he also likes some of these bets he wants to plant a flag on as well. Let's start with Jahmyr Gibbs. In the article, which you can also find on Fantasy Alarm, you have Gibbs as a top 12 running back for fantasy in PPR. But his props, you can see them on the screen here. Some of his season-long props, his rushing total is at 625.5. His receiving total is at 400.5 yards, plus 900 to be the offensive rookie of the year if you want to go that route on FanDuel. You like any of these props for him? I mean, I think the receiving one kind of piques my interest the most in that backfield.
Yeah, listen, I like them both. Now, obviously, again, he's my flag pan player, so I'm more bullish on him than I think most will. But I mean, again, the fantasy community, depending on your format, is drafting him among the top 10 to 15 running backs as it is. So in order to pay off sort of value there, then he's going to have more than 1,000 total yards. Yeah. His pass catching ability is supposedly his best skill set here. So 400 yards seems awfully low if he's going to play a full 17 games. And given the usage we've seen with this Lions offense throwing the football, I mean, DeAndre Swift saw 70 and 78 targets the last 2 years while playing 14 and 13 games. So missing time. You got to think if he was to play a full season, need to be looking at 80 plus targets there. Jahmyr Gibbs should very well be in that 80 to 90 target range. I'm at least projecting him for, which means you got to think he's going to easily blow by 400 receiving yards. But the rushing yards still seem low to me. To go over 625 rushing yards, you need to average 37 rushing yards per game. Again, you and I have gone over this before when it comes to these low rushing totals here.
Yeah.
I don't think this is going to be some like 70-30 split with David Montgomery. Last year, Jamal Williams only saw more than 50% of the offensive snaps one time. And that was with DeAndre Swift dealing with his myriad of injuries and not being healthy enough to really play a full workload. They were still mixing in other guys. They used a 12th overall pick on Jahmyr Gibbs. I don't think it's to put him on the field for 20% of the time. I think he's going to see probably a 50-50 workload with David Montgomery here. And maybe some more of the between the 20s work going to Jahmyr Gibbs because they want to utilize him in the passing game and he can get some of that running play. So I'm going to go the over on both of his props here. They both just seem too low for a guy taking 12th overall in fantasy in the NFL draft.
Yeah, I can support that. I definitely love the receiving yards over too because I think early in the season, especially with Jameson Williams out for the Lions, I feel like they're going to want to use Gibbs more as a pass catcher out of the backfield as kind of like a dump down option for Jared Goff there. But yeah, the yards, when you look at total yards, if there's anything out there, RT Sports, Underdog, Prize Picks, where you can kind of bet on like total yards, that would be more something I'd be interested in too, because I do think you put it all together, I feel like he's more than 1,000 total yards this season. And it could
go over the 400.5 receiving yards. He needs to average 23.5 receiving yards per game. I'm expecting him to get 4 to 5 catches a game. So it almost feels difficult to imagine he doesn't go through that. And there's going to be games where he has like 80 receiving yards to sort of make up the average, maybe on a day where he has less for whatever reason. So yeah, again, this is a flag plan player for me, so I'm going to act overly bullish on him, but I just believe in the offense and the talent of the player that he's going to be in there.
Yeah. Would you consider putting the plus 900 on him to be the rookie of the year this year?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think it's certainly possible. He's got, obviously he's got a little bit of a tough go because he's dealing with 3 rookie quarterbacks. They're going to be starting out of the gate here. He's got Bijan Robinson, Jordan Addison, Jackson Smith and Jigba at some point is going to come back. Both Sam Laporta on his team and Dalton Kincaid are first round tight ends. I mean, there's a lot of good rookies in this class on the offensive side of the football, but Gibbs is certainly worthy of that conversation for sure.
All right, next guy you are planting your flag on for fantasy is Calvin Ridley, Jaguars' new wide receiver this year. You can get his over-under, his receiving yards is at 900.5 over on DraftKings right now, or you can look at his receiving touchdowns at 6.5. I would assume you're going slightly over on both of these. I definitely think Ridley, I grabbed him in a couple of fantasy leagues already, and when the season rolls along, I'll be looking at his props, over, because I think he's going to be a top weapon for Trevor Lawrence right out of the gate. We saw them connect on a nice touchdown in the preseason. I just think his talent is going to really show out and win out, and Lawrence is going to love throwing to him. I mean, this is a guy that went, back in 2020, his peak was 1,300 receiving yard season. If he can get back to that, then he's going well over that 900.5 receiving yards.
Yeah, listen, this isn't a guy that missed a year last year due to like some catastrophic injury.
Yeah,
he placed a couple of bets and he had to sit out. He was still working out. He's still healthy. If nothing else, he got a whole year for his body to sort of just recover from the rigors of an NFL season. Again, a lot of these times when the guys miss time, can they bounce back from the Achilles or the torn ACL or the foot injury? Michael Thomas, can he come back from all these things? Those aren't the questions we're asking with Calvin Ridley. We're asking well, is he still fast after missing a year? Yeah, he's still fast. He's out there running around, blowing by everybody. As you mentioned, the guy had 1,300 plus yards 2.5 seasons ago now, I guess at this point.
Yeah.
And for me, the biggest thing that I like about Calvin Ridley is the offense, again, that he's kind of going into. His addition to the Jacksonville offense shifts guys back into their slots that they should be viewed as. Christian Kirk is a wide receiver 2. He's not really a wide receiver 1. He had a great year last year. Hats off to him, but he's not an alpha. He's not a 1. He's a good number. It's a really good number 2. Zay Jones is a really good number 3. Evan Ingram's a great pass catching tight end. But Calvin Ridley's a 1 wide receiver. He's a wide receiver 1 in football. And Trevor Lawrence was the first overall pick 2 years ago, a guy that never lost basically at any professional level of football that he ever played. Got stuck with Urban Meyer as a rookie, had to deal with not only learning the NFL game, but dealing with a horrible head coach. And then in year 2, with a competent system, a competent coach, he goes and goes for 4,000 yards and like 25 touchdowns. I only think he's going to get better. I've said it a bunch of times. You're talking about Burrow, Herbert. I think Trevor Lawrence could be right in there in that group when it comes to the value there. So,
especially just taking another leap this season, especially with all those weapons you just outlined. Looking at his Calvin Ridley's touchdowns in recent years, you can obviously take out last year, but he only played 5 games in 2021, so we could take that out. But in his first 3 seasons, he went over this touchdown prop of 6.5 in all 3 years. So I think that's one you can look at, especially with the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is a guy where whether he's going to be trying to make plays with his legs or with his arm in the red zone, they're going to lean on him rather than trying to run the ball in, especially in the goal line. I could see him looking Calvin Ridley's way, even on like short routes and stuff like that, just overall in the red zone. But so I like his touchdown props over too. I'm with you on this. We got a couple of we got a roster cuts. We're tracking these roster cuts because the deadline has come in, and some notable players will be changing teams or off teams, and your Patriots making a little move here. They cut Bailey Zappi. He's no longer the backup to Mac Jones there.
Malik
really
Cunningham era begins because they cut Trace McSorley as well. So unless they have a plan to go sign Colt McCoy or something like that to be the backup quarterback here, Malik Cunningham is your backup quarterback to Mac Jones, which is kind of interesting because way back when Josh McDaniels really wanted to draft Lamar Jackson, and they had Tom Brady and Bill Belichick kind of balked on it. They went a different direction. Obviously Malik Cunningham, he did it in like an extra year or 2, but he broke all of Lamar Jackson's records at Louisville for running the football. Listen, Malik Cunningham is the backup quarterback now in New England until further notice. So super interesting because they don't run the same offense, Mac Jones and Malik Cunningham. So that's going to be something to watch moving forward for sure.
Well, listen, this is parlayed right into if you're talking, any season-long props for Mac Jones. I think there's a chance they could even bring in Cunningham for a few drives just to bring a different, dual threat look to the offense and still kind of switch back and forth because, Jones is the better passer, but Cunningham is an elite, dual threat running ability there from the quarterback spot. So, I could see them bringing him. I wouldn't rule it out. You can tell me better, but I wouldn't rule out McDaniels, Belichick wanting to bring in Cunningham like down near the goal line just to give defenses different looks. Have him, Stevenson, and Zeke all in the backfield. That's a nightmare.
I mean, listen, obviously Bill O'Brien used him in a lot of different ways during the preseason. They had him as a wide receiver. Then they would bring him in the second half of those games, play quarterback, and he was making plays. Definitely a project guy, but it puts the emphasis on there is no controversy now, right? Like Mac Jones is the quarterback. The problem is that Malik Cunningham was exciting in the preseason, and everybody loves the backup. So if Mac Jones starts slumping a little bit, people are going to be like, give Malik Cunningham a chance.
Yeah.
Being a Patriots fan, I remember the Michael Bishop era in New England when Drew Bledsoe was struggling. Everybody's like, put Bishop in. He's got the fire on from Kansas State, right? Like, put him in there, and the mobility, and he's exciting. But Michael Bishop wasn't a great quarterback. Drew Bledsoe was the guy. So, we'll see what happens for sure. But very interesting to see Bailey Zappi get moved there. And we'll see where Bailey Zappi ends up. I bet he gets scooped. He's going to be better than some teams' backups right now.
Oh, it could be the Cardinals' week 1 starter for all we know.
Honestly, I mean, listen, like I said, they let go of Colt McCoy. They traded for Josh Jobs. They drafted Clayton Tune. We could very much see Bailey Zappi pick up and starting there. So.
Or just go to the Cowboys. Give him another quarterback. Who cares?
Probably goes to McDaniels and like backs up Garoppolo and sits with Hoyer again, right? Like,
yeah.
I mean, unless Hoyer got cut, I don't know if Hoyer was released or not on the Raiders, but he was their backup. So
if Hoyer gets cut, I could see the Patriots signing him back up then.
Honestly, probably, yeah. He's basically a coach at this point.
Yeah. All right, so the third and last player we'll touch on here that John is planting his flag on for fantasy football. Again, you can read this article and watch the show that was earlier today with John, Howard, Kev, Tompkins, Andrew Cooper, Britt Flynn, going through all their plant flag players over on Fantasy Alarm. But the last guy, Daniel Jones, as a quarterback for the Giants, you think he could be a top 12 quarterback for fantasy? How about his props here? His season-long props: 3,300.5 passing yards, 575.5 rushing yards. Obviously, the rushing is probably something you like for him for fantasy to maintain being like a top 10 tier quarterback for fantasy. What do you like about these props, if any?
Yeah, listen, honestly, I think the rushing might be a little bit high. I was kind of seeing a little bit of regression in him. I think he sits around 500. Okay. I think that number that they have there is probably a pretty good number to set him at. 575. He has a 400-plus yard rushing season already under his belt. He ran for 700 last year. I kind of kept on saying, like, listen, if he drops down to 500, I think we're still in the ballpark. 575 is kind of an on-the-nose number for me, so it's probably a no bet. I think it could go either way, but I do think he goes over the 3,300 yards. That's kind of why I am bullish on him. Well, a lot of people think, well, there's no way he runs for 700 yards again. I'm like, all right, fine, but you concede it's unlikely he only throws for 3,215 touchdowns. Second year in Brian Daboll's offense, getting a guy like Darren Waller, hopefully he stays healthy, but then drafting Jalen Hyatt. Again, I'm very bullish on Jalen Hyatt. I have him in a lot of best ball leagues. I get him in the end of drafts. I think that he's a better talent than a lot of the receivers that they have already on that offense that have just been holdovers for years. Like, it's the same guys that are in New York. And I think Hyatt just presents a different level of play there. So, I don't know. I guess I'm not sure. Where we are getting reports, the Patriots also apparently waived Malik Cunningham. So everything I just talked about, erased. I don't know who the backup quarterback is, so because we don't have one. I have no idea. Unless there's a typo as well. I got nothing.
If we get any news coming in that has the words Tom and Brady in it, then I will just go crazy right now.
Can you imagine?
I can't. I could, but I can't at the same time because, listen, they're week 1? They're playing the Eagles, right? And they're retiring Brady's number, right?
They are. They signed him for a day?
Yeah. They signed him for a day just to play quarterback? Yeah, maybe.
Oh, man.
Back to Daniel Jones, though. Give me your vibes about this receiving core outside of Darren Waller and Hyatt, though, because there's a chance Waller, just with his injury history, if he's out for a few games, and Hyatt, maybe there's some growing pains as a rookie, just trying to get the playbook and his route running all polished up. Like, I'm a little worried about just the rest of the receiving core because, as you mentioned, they've been there. They're just overwhelmed overall, too.
So Sterling Shepard and Daniel Jones actually have a great chemistry together. Whenever Sterling Shepard is healthy, Daniel Jones targets him was like, I think it was last year, like 7.5 targets a game or something like that. Great, and he's been productive. The problem is that he just doesn't stay healthy long enough, right? He pops an ACL or an Achilles or whatever it is, and he's always hurt. But if Shepard's on the field, I think that's probably the clear number 2. I mean, we don't know much about Wan'Dale Robinson. Isaiah Hodgins looked great, but where is he on the depth chart with some of these guys that they're bringing in? Who else is it? Paris Campbell's another guy that's sort of a retread of what Shepard could be. Slayton probably gets overtaken by Hyatt, though I think Slayton's going to initially start as a starting outside wide receiver for that team. So there's not a lot to – there's a lot of okay guys. There's no stars. I think Waller is really going to help move that because he hasn't had a pass-catching tight end since Evan Ingram, obviously, a few years ago. But I think a culmination of this offense with Saquon Barkley, adding Hyatt, adding Waller, I do think is going to help push the over for Jones in the passing yards.
Okay. Those are the players. Calvin Ridley, Jahmyr Gibbs, Daniel Jones. John is planting his flag on for fantasy. And, you like some of the overs on some of these props if you're looking on DraftKings, FanDuel, wherever to bet on these season-long player futures. Awesome stuff there. All right, let's turn our attention to tonight's baseball slate because we got plenty of bets and picks that we're going to give out to everyone. Plenty of games out there. So I'll let you go first. What is your best bet for tonight, John?
I'm on Tarek Skubal, more than 2.5 earned runs. You look at the Yankees' damage against left-handed pitching this year, it's really been the only thing they've done. They hit left-handed pitching. They have a top 5 offense in WOBA, slugging, ISO. Aaron Judge being back obviously helps that. And Skubal's kind of been on the skids lately. He had a couple of decent outings to start, really kind of up and down of late here. So you're getting plus money on the over 2.5. I think a lot of people, including Vegas, are still looking at the Yankees and being like, oh, they suck. They don't do anything. They can't score. It's like, well, most of that's true when they face righties, but not when they face lefties. They hit them. So give me the over 2.5 earned for Tarek Skubal here tonight.
Yeah, the Yankees offense is one I've equally bet against and bet on this past month because their splits against lefties versus righties is like night and day. It's crazy. When they're against righties, they stink, but against lefties they are. Yeah, they're like a top 3 offense right now against left-handed pitching. All right, my best bet. I'm sure you'll like this one. Go with the Red Sox team total over 4.5 runs. If they get JP France here, who they just got knocked him around for 10 runs on 11 hits his last week, and now has to turn around and face this same lineup that just had this success. I don't see it going much better for him because his expected ERA and FIP are still way higher than his current ERA. And I just think some more, regression is coming to this rookie pitcher. And the Red Sox against right-handed pitching are just crushing, especially over the past week, but all season. But over the past week, a .312 batting average, .388 WOBA, 143 weighted run created plus. At home, the Red Sox are also just in a top-tier offense, so I like that part of it. And, a lineup that doesn't strike out often, too, against righties, which I think is rough situation for France, who has a really low strikeout rate himself. So I see some more trouble coming here. The team total is at 4.5, and they're averaging 6.5 runs per game over the last 15 games here, scoring 5+ runs in 10 of those 15. So I don't see France limiting this offense much. So give me the team total over for the Red Sox.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you mentioned it. We just saw this, and he got absolutely obliterated. France does have some pretty, I think, extreme splits. I think he's been pretty good against righties or good against lefties, bad against righties. It's one of the two there.
He also has a 192 road ERA this year, but you're looking at that closer. He's got a 356 FIP on the road too. So, some regression coming to that. You kind of look at some of his game logs. He's faced some easier lineups on the road. So this is a tough spot for him going on the road.
So he's getting lefties out. That's where my initial worry was in the last start, because you look at the Red Sox lineup, lefty heavy, right? Devers, Yoshida, Verdugo, Casas, that whole crew there. But it didn't matter. They scored 10 runs on him on Sunday here. So if there is some of that regression coming, like you mentioned, you could certainly see a repeat performance. They do have a 375 xFIP against left-handed hitters on the year, only a sub 8K per 9. So I'm with you there. I think the Red Sox can do some damage. They got embarrassed last night, so I look for them to bounce back.
They did. We got Michael Rojas commenting here on YouTube, and if you guys got any comments, questions you want to throw at us, definitely hit us up here. But Michael's saying he likes the Reds money line tonight. Let's see. The Reds have not dived into that matchup. Brandon Williamson on the mound for the Reds, going against Alex Cobb for the Giants. You get the Reds money line plus 136 on DraftKings. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we've been attacking the Giants with left-handed pitchings for most of this season. Williamson's just kind of like okay though. So you can. The Reds lineup has been struggling. Cobb has been okay, not great. So if you like it, sure. I think the Reds can win tonight, and you're getting plus odds. So I'm fine going there. But again, I don't think that it's a great pitching matchup for either team. I think it'll be rather close. So it's all about your risk aversion at that point.
Yeah. Yesterday, I just to brag about myself for a second, I nailed Kyle Harrison's strikeouts. He ended up with like 11. Lefty going against the Reds, and it was just a great matchup for him. But obviously, I think kind of factoring that in, maybe the Reds offense bounces back a little bit with Cobb on the mound. Just probably an easier matchup for them, against the righty. So if I were to pick a side there, I'd probably go Reds too. So I like that, Michael. We got a B4E commenting on here on YouTube saying he likes Acuna for a dinger, and Gunnar Henderson, I'm assuming Gunnar Henderson today as well. Acuna, dude, last night he went off. There's some like underlying back and forth now with Acuna and Mookie Betts, because the NL MVP conversation is actually close now, according to betting odds and all that.
We did this show, I want to say 2 weeks ago, and we talked about Ron Acuna was getting offered odds on DraftKings where you could get Ron Acuna versus the field at plus 400. You can take the field at, and now he's not even the favorite to win the MVP anymore. So if you took the field at plus 400 2 weeks ago, you're sitting here looking pretty good,
Acuna was like minus 1,000 to win the MVP. I think it was
minus 1,600 on DraftKings Sportsbook to win the MVP. You got the field at plus 400. Yeah, and now he's not the favorite in the win anymore because Mookie just has been ridiculous.
Mookie's gone on fire. But yeah, like the back to the calling Acuna for a dinger tonight. He's in Coors Field, so like that is definitely a boost for him. He's got Peter Lambert on the mound for the Colorado, so not a scary matchup by any means. I don't mind backing that one. Gunnar Henderson for the O's tonight. He's got Jesse Schultens for the White Sox. That's a plus matchup for him.
Yeah. Gunner's another guy that's been on fire. So I am fine with both. I want to go back to Michael here. So he likes the Reds money line, but he's taking their pitcher under on his outs.
Interesting.
It feels contrarian to liking the Reds, because now it's not to say it's impossible for the Reds to win a game and their pitcher pitch fewer than the outs prop, but usually you want the pitcher to have a good game for the team to win. So, it feels risky to hope for the pitcher to get less than, what's his outs prop at? 16.5 probably
17.5 I'm looking on DraftKings.
17.5. So you want him to have less than 6 innings pitched tonight, but the Reds win on the money line. That, again, it feels a little contrarian to me. So,
yeah. The outs prop, just looking back at Williamson's game logs here, so 17.5 is the line there. He's been under it in 3 or 4 of his last 6 starts here. So if you want to look at that, that fares well for him tonight.
Are they winning those games?
He earned a win in one of those. So yeah, I mean he did give up 4 runs 2 starts ago against the Blue Jays. He pitched 6 shutout against the Diamondbacks last start on the road. So I mean that bodes well for the Reds money line.
He's had at least 17 outs in 4 straight. They only won one of those games. So I mean, obviously not to his fault. Like you said, 1 earned, 4 earned, and they lost. He has 6 shutout against Arizona. So over the last 4 starts, he's 50-50 on 17 and a half outs. And they've lost 3 of the 4 games. So it just, it feels super risky to me, to go there.
All right. All right. What other bets you got tonight?
Obviously just staying in conjunction with Scooble over 2.5. Our Yankees team total over 3.5. The Yankees team total over 3.5 is -140, but Scooble's over 2.5 is +110. So I don't know, make it make sense. They think they're going to score more than 3.5, but the starting pitcher is going to give up less than 2.5. I don't think so. So give me the Yankees over 3.5 here.
Yeah, back to the Yankees versus lefties. So
yeah, I'm just gonna stack these bets. Like, why not? Just play them.
I don't blame you. Well, I got 2 that are kind of stacked here too, because I'm going with the Phillies team total over 4.5. You get -150 on FanDuel. A little juicy, but I still like this because the Phillies offense is rolling right now. And they got Tyler Anderson on the mound for the Angels. And the Phillies against left-handed pitching are crushing lefties. 412 WOBA, 308 ISO against lefties over the past week. Also just a top 10 offense against lefties over the past month in general. And, at home, the Phillies are on fire at home. And over the past month, they are the best offense in baseball at Citizens Bank Park. So I like them to keep it going. They're averaging over 7 runs per game over the past 11 games now, with 5+ runs, going over this team total in 8 of those 11. So I like that going against Tyler Anderson. Tyler Anderson, by the way, he's got a 7.36 ERA this month, in the month of August. Also has a 5.61 ERA since the All-Star break. I don't see him really limiting this Phillies offense here. And then just stacking onto that, Trey Turner. It's just, looking like old Trey Turner again. And it started, I don't know if you were on the show or if it was Grande. But
they hit him 8th or whatever it was.
Well, no, they hit him 8th. But then back in early August, the Phillies home crowd gave him a standing O. And it was kind of reported before that. And I said, throw out Trey Turner's prop for this game. And he came through. He got an RBI single. So went over the hits, runs, RBIs for that. I'm going that here because since that game, since he got a standing O from the Philly crowd, he's been on fire. He's hitting 356, 1083 OPS, 7 homers. He just had 2 more last night, 20 RBIs, 18 runs scored in the 22 games since that. And he's gone over this prop 7 of his last 9 games, over 1.5 hits, runs, RBIs. And he's Tyler Anderson's allowing a lot worse numbers against right-handed hitters than lefties. So give me Turner to just keep it going and lead that Phillies offense over their team total.
I like that. I like that one a lot. My next bet here, again, one that I think is kind of interesting. You're getting plus odds on Dean Kremer to get a win tonight, +110. Well, Baltimore is a -245 home favorite. So it doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to go ahead and take the plus odds on the starting pitcher for the team that's a -245 home favorite. So, lock up the win, +110 on Dean Kremer for me. Thank you. And I'll accept the money in my checking account later, So.
Well, you know what? The same kind of vibe for me here. George Kirby to get the win tonight, +110 on DraftKings. The Mariners are -310 favorites on the money line.
Yeah.
I just don't see how Kirby isn't earning the win here. The Mariners offense has been the best in baseball right now. Just lighten it up. I don't think Ken Waldichuk for the A's is going to really hold them down. The Mariners are killing lefties right now too, so that's good for them in this spot. And the A's not great against right-handed pitching, so I think Kirby does plenty here to earn the win. One of those you just outlined it with Kramer and the Orioles, but when you see a favorite of this magnitude where it's a pitching mismatch too, it's an offensive mismatch. I don't know why. I feel like Kirby should be probably like minus 110, like even odds.
Yeah, like right. Listen, now plus 145, like plus 110 to get a win is actually like very low odds. A lot of these pitchers when their plus win odds are like 145, 200. So like, this is a huge favorite, obviously at plus 110. But he's still plus 110, and he's a monster favorite in these games. So I'm all in. I'm all in on that one with you for sure.
All right.
My last pick, because why not? Stolen base prop, Julio Rodriguez, plus 340 to get a stolen back here tonight. So, again, hottest hitter in baseball. My only problem is he might hit home runs instead. If he doesn't get on first against Waldichuk, it's because he put it over the fence. He doesn't have a chance to steal. But I'll take my chances here with J-Rod to get a stolen base tonight at plus 340.
Yeah, you had to get a stolen base prop in there. I was waiting for it.
Why not?
All right. So, yeah, those are our betting picks for tonight. If you got any more you want to throw at us here in the chat, let us know, and we'll give some opinions on those. But yeah, let's get to our daily dingers, our home run calls for tonight.
And that baby is gone.
Now that's a dinger.
All right, so we got B4E chiming in earlier, said he's got Acuna going deep, his home run call tonight. What is yours tonight, John?
Yeah, we'll just stick with the theme here. All rise, Aaron Judge, plus 265 to go deep tonight. Again, I like the Tarek Skubal over 2.5 earned. I like the Yankees team total over 3.5 runs. Aaron Judge certainly can do all the damage we need here with the swing of the bat. So give me Judge plus 265 on the homer call.
Yeah, he's heating up lately too. He's back on the home run binge here, so I could back that. Well, my home run call is also just backing an offense that I already gave out as my best bet, the Red Sox, and I'm going with Justin Turner to go deep, plus 450 over on DraftKings. France has reverse splits, allowing better numbers, especially power numbers, to right-handed hitters. And Turner, he's got some good numbers at home. He's on fire right now in terms of 5 home runs in his last 15 games, 997 OPS too in this stretch, and I like him to keep it going here and anchor the Red Sox tonight. So give me Justin Turner home run prop.
Yep. I like that a lot. Again, the way he's been hitting lately in the France splits, you got him at home, got the short porch down right field. And left field with the Green Monster there. So
he's been hitting it over the Green Monster. No problem. I just realized, by the way, before we wrap up, I'm going with a pair of Turners tonight, Trey Turner and Justin Turner. I honestly didn't even realize it until I looked back and got mixed up because I had multiple Turner last names here and almost read the wrong stats. But go with Justin Turner and Trey Turner. How about the Turner parlay? Parlay that into a nice
could be for sure
prop. All right, so those are our picks tonight. And if you missed it earlier, we talked through some NFL player futures for tonight. So go back and listen to that. But we'll be back tomorrow, 4:00 Eastern. Jon Impemba filling back in on Wednesday with Howard Bender off. But I'm sure we'll have plenty to talk about then. So you can tune back in 4:00 Eastern. Coming up next, by the way, 5 p.m. Eastern here, Quick Pitch MLB DFS live show with John, pulling double duty, and James Grande on that one with him. And then 7 p.m. Eastern, high stakes fantasy football show. So keep watching all night tonight on Bettor Sports Network, and we'll see you tomorrow. Good luck.